Welcome to my humble abode. I'm Yorkie the Tail Spinner, and this Tales Over Coffee, the channel where we start the day with a narrative tale and a cup of coffee, in hope of welcoming a blessed day. We turn now to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, the Yorkie Brante. I'll be trying to remember to read this first person as I am playing Yorkie Brante. Agony definitely soon after the trial, alone. Grandfather does not go with him, for the first time in a long while. He lingers in the house for more than a fortnight. Father says Sir Gregor is ill and needs rest. Several months go by and it becomes clear that Grandfather will not recover. The eldest Brante is mostly bedridden now. On some days he has trouble recognizing people. When he means to address me or Nathan, he calls me Robert, my father's name. When he does get out of bed, the house grows empty. The servants hide. Mother locks herself in her chambers, and Nathan and I run outside or hide quietly in our rooms. If Grandfather sees anyone in the hallway, he begins lamenting. Oh, nobody heeds the lots any longer. Any harlot with a child can marry a nobleman these days. Children have no respect. His son betrayed him and let him down. No, how the Brante family has lost its honour. Again and again, I hear Grandfather knocking at Mother's door. Dreaming that it's all her fault, he blames her for ruining his chances to find bliss in the hereafter. He blames her for dooming him to suffer at the foot of the pillar. I overhear my parents talking one night. Mother begs Father to remove Sir Gregor to his old home and spare the children his decline. Father refuses her outright. He's late. The hot, dry winds are coming. The house is empty save for me, Nathan, Gloria, Mother and Grandfather in his bed. Father has left for the capital on business. I'm engrossed in the history of the Empire, snapping out of my reverie only when the clock strikes midnight. I blow out the candle and get ready for bed. I hear the shuffling of feet outside my door, the light in the hallway. Grandfather, what do he want in the middle of the night? I peek into the hallway once he is past. Grandfather's figure sways as he heads for the door to Mother's chambers. He opens the door and walks in. I hear him saying something quietly. My unease is stronger than my fear now. I sneak closer to hear his words. You foul commoner, he snarls. I have to cleanse my sins. I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin. You and what you have done to Robert and this family. I should have put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why, oh why didn't I do it? Please, Sir Brante, I beg of you, cries Mother. Silence, he snarls. You will do my bidding. Fire will cleanse all low-born filth from this place. Fire, fire and flame will free Robert from this disgrace. This is for my son's sake, for my son's sake, for my sake. I need to eradicate this low-born filth. The twins, they are calling for me now. I can feel it. I can feel it. I beg of you, please have mercy, says Mother. Mother begins to cry. I run into the room, unable to stay out of this any longer. Grandfather's gaunt figure looms over Mother's bed, a lit oil lamp in his hand. Mother is sprawled out on the bed crying. Please just let me warn the children, I beg of you, Sir Brante. My steps are loud enough to be heard. Grandfather turns to look at me. Stay out of this, Yorkie, he says. Be useful for once. Worldly matters concern me no longer. I see only my sins now, and a sinner I am. A sinner. The twins, they forgive no one. They will judge me by the pillar. I must do something. I don't want to suffer for all eternity. Go away. Mother is crying. Grandfather is still looming over the bed, driven to madness. His hand shakes as it clutches the oil lamp. His eyes shine in the dark. He truly believes this has to be done. I'm suddenly torn. What if he is right? What if that is the only way for his soul to find salvation? Don't be bloody ridiculous. The twins I've known and seen would not believe that. There is no going back now. I have but a moment to act. I run to Mother's side and snatch the lamp out of Grandfather's hand before he can start a fire. I look at grandfather defiantly and step towards him. He stares down with rage and throws the oil lamp at the floor. I manage to catch it just barely. Several drops of hot oil hit the rug, not nearly enough to start a fire. The lamp's glass is blistering hot, it burns my hands, but I hold onto it safely. "You low-born scum," he snarls. "You ruined everything. You're every bit like your mother, you. Enraged, he takes a swing, and I squeeze my eyes shut. But he does not hit me. Instead, there is a deep exhalation. I peek at him with one eye, just in time to see him collapse with all his strength fading away. His chest is heaving, his face a grimace of contempt. Another heavy exhalation. The contempt is gone. There's only fear now. Grandfather's eyes open wide, almost in surprise. He exhales. His eyes grow dim. Mother is there, whispering a prayer. She is shaking violently. I put the oil lamp gently on the bedside table and call for the servants. They carry the body away. It does not disappear. True death has found him. He will never return. I spend the rest of the night with Mother in the sitting room. She will not let go of my hand. For many, many nights afterwards, she keeps seeing Grandfather's shadow out of the corner of her eye. Father returns from Eterna the morning after. He unusually composed as he arranges for the funeral. The house becomes quiet. Not the looming, heavy sort of quiet of the past few months, but the calm relief. We all feel now that the crazed old man is no more. At last, Gregor Brante, the family's patriarch, has departed for the hereafter. He has a true death, and his situation with us ends as hostility. My nobility is up to +5, my ingenuity up to 3, my willpower down to 0. Ready for action, but barely. My father's demise, year 1132. My grandfather, Sir Gregor Brante, left this world, forever to meet the twins. Last respects. The night of grandfather's death shook our family to the core. Yet no matter how it happened, my grandfather Gregor Brante is dead and will never return. He was a fearful shadow looming over the rest of the family, the Brante patriarch exerting his influence on all the lives below him, and all of us will remember him forever. Father is the new patriarch of the family now, but he still cannot bring himself to sit at the head of the table, where Sir Gregor used to preside. Stefan locks himself away in grandfather's bedroom every day. He will not talk to anyone. Gloria and Nathan still jump at every sound that so much as resembles the knocking of his walking stick. Mother spends all day in prayer at the temple. And yet the house has become calm and quiet with his passing. But there is one more thing that must be done. The funeral, the final farewell. It weighs heavily upon my soul. The day comes to pay my final respects. Father goes to the tomb alone, save for Stefan, Nathan, and me. Mother and Gloria stay at home. Only nobles, or those who may become noble, may join this ritual. There is a solemn silence as we walk to the crypt. Father is the one who breaks his silence when we finally reach the door of the family crypt. My grandfather built this crypt, and now he will be the first Brante to remain here in body forever. The first ever noble in our family. It is our duty now to hold the sacrament of flowing blood for Sir Gregor. We will honour his legacy and join him as the founder of the noble Brante dynasty. Stefan perks up at father's words. His hands still clutch grandfather's sword. Tradition decrees that it must remain in the niche above the owner's sarcophagus. Nathan, on the other hand, looks even more frightened now. Stairs carved of white stone lead us downward. Deep in the gloom of the crypt, atop a pedestal, I see the sarcophagus that holds grandfather's body. Father takes a moment to compose himself before paying his final respects. Gregor Brante, my father, brought our family into nobility. Through his unshakable will, he was a judge and a loyal servant to the empire. He lived his life as he had been born a noble, and he never strayed from the path he had chosen. He sought to make the Brante family ennobled by the sword, so that our children's children might be of noble birth. The twins know I abided by my father's words all my life, even if I could not obey him every time. Father lets out a bitter chuckle as he says this. Stefan glares at Father, then turns to glare at Nathan and me. After all, the two of you were born of Father's shameful decision to marry a commoner. All of you remember his disastrous passing, says Father. He did not die the true death he deserved. Yet we all must know that he fought for the future he believed in to the very end. And he would be proud to see his family bid him farewell with his sacraments of the nobility. Yes, he followed the thing he believed in. He was insane. Stefan still glares at Father sullenly. His fingers remain clutched around Grandfather's sword. Nathan pays attention to the words. He looks around with unease. His arms folded across his chest. Father reaches into his jacket and pulls out a slender dagger, thin and sharp. He takes off his gloves. Watch me carefully, my sons. Make a small cut on the palm of your hand and let your blood flow into this duct on the wall of the crypt. It will join your grandfather's blood here and flow forever. Then ancestor and progeny will become as one. We shall enter our family's blood tide and receive grandfather's final blessing, for his blood flows first in our blood tide. He will respond to you. You are part of him and he is part of you. Nonsense. With a quick motion, Father slices his hand and holds the bleeding cut above a small opening in the wall. Then he hands the dagger to Stefan. Stefan cuts his hand without hesitation and does as Father did. I receive the dagger next. The dagger's handle feels warm. I hesitate for a moment as I look at the palm of my hand. If I participate in this ritual, I will enter the Brante blood tide. Me, a low-born child, a child who is still a commoner. Am I ready to claim my legacy as a descendant of the nobleman Gregor Brante? Why would I want to? The eyes of my father and brother are upon me. Nathan, the youngest brother, will follow my example. I can be certain of this. I could not ask for grandfather's blessing. I've not done the nobleman's sacrament, so I cannot bleed. But I give the dagger back, which I would have done anyway. I refuse to participate in this ritual. After all, I do not bear the nobleman's lot. And I would not want to bear his descent. His heritage, if you will. I return the dagger to Father and say I cannot participate in the ritual. I am a commoner, and my back bears the mark of the lash. Grandfather would never have let me honour his name as a nobleman. Nathan nods in agreement. I do not deserve this honour. No, I do not accept this disgrace. Father furrows his brow and shakes his head. Stefan, help me close the lid of the sarcophagus and remember to ask Grandfather for his blessing. And as for you two, it seems you weren't ready to walk the nobleman's path after all. You're right, son. Your grandfather would never have allowed it. The lid of the sarcophagus falls into place with a heavy, resonant thud. Then, suddenly, we all freeze, as each of us hears the late grandfather speak to us. The voice is loud and it rings in the depth of the crypt, and yet he speaks to each of us separately. Foul blood creature! I knew you never had it in you to rise above meagre birth, Yorkie, he says. To me, specifically. You have not a drop of nobility in you, and your pathetic little brother is the same. You are a taint upon my flesh and blood. Be gone from my crypt. My legs carry out of the crypt of their own accord. Out of that stuffy crypt. I can finally breathe again. I hear slow footsteps behind me. I turn around and meet Nathan's gaze. You did the right thing, he says. If it weren't for you, I'd have done what Father told us. Grandfather said I should stay away from his legacy, and said it'll do me no good if I tried to follow in his footsteps. How's that for words of guidance, eh? Nathan sighs as he embraces you. Father and Stefan left the crypt much later and walked to the carriage without a word. Nathan and I follow simply behind him. So, we've lost one relation with Father, gained one with Nathan, willpower back to 5, the fugitive girl. Grandfather's passing and last respects have left a mark on the entire family. His words relayed from the hereafter keep echoing in my mind. I still do my best to avoid the memory of Grandfather last night and spend more time on the city streets with Thomas and my other classmates. The road by the house reminds me of another clash with death. Sometimes, as I walk along the road, I recall Sophia, the beautiful girl with the wonderful eyes, and the terrifying, thundering hooves. I have not seen Sophia since that fateful day. The children who live nearby say her parents sent her to a rich Agnian family, the Ottons, as a servant. The sun has set. The pillar shines palely in the dark sky. Thomas is ill, so I decide to visit him and tell him the latest news. The streets seem oddly agitated tonight, full of horses, cloaked men, strange faces and hushed voices. A young nobleman in a heavy embroidered cloak is walking back and forth, clutching at his sword nervously. There is a grimace of rage on his delicate blue face. He is an Agnian. I overhear a voice. Sir Otton, the girl's not at home. We searched the house. Her parents swear she ran away from home too. They claim they wanted to bring her back. Just do whatever it takes, says Darius Otton. Turn this loathsome district upside down if you must. But bring my servant back to me. She's here. Sophia? Ran away from an Agnian? How can this be? There is only one place on the entire street where a person could hide. The abandoned Morel house. 4 houses away from mine. I head there, doing my best not to attract attention. The lopsided house built of yellow brick has been abandoned for 20 years or so. I remember playing there as a boy. I glimpse a figure inside even before I enter. A pair of eyes glimmer in the dark. I would recognize them even after another 4 years. Sophia has grown up. She is almost an adult now and her face is full of fear. She is not the easygoing girl next door that I remember. She finally recognizes me. Oh, it's you, Yorkie, she says. Be quiet, they're all looking for me. I ran away from the youngest Otton. I might be in for a lesser death here, but I'd rather die than spend another day in their slavery. I'm just a thing to him, just a toy to play with. Sophia winces and closes her mouth when she says this. There is a glint of bright yellow deep in her eyes. I ran to my parents. I told them all about the men I had to serve, and they went and alerted the Ottons. They don't want to be the target for their ire, but you aren't going to tip them off, are you? Hell no. The barking and shouting are getting closer. Sophia's voice grows quiet. He runs off to the darkest corner of the house before I can answer. One of the Otton servants is so close I can hear his cloak swishing against the ground. He notices something and calls for the others. There are more voices around us now. They approach the house from the yard and surround it. One of them seems particularly snappy, annoyed and impatient. I've already heard this voice today. If you're in there, girl, you'd be wise to come out and quit wasting my time. All will be forgiven and you will go back where you were. You know it. And if you don't, I'll drag you out by your hair. The hilt of the young Agnian's sword bashes the door. He's about to lose his patience for good. Sophia hugs the wall of the dark, trying to stay still. He glances at me. What will I do? My heart is racing. Can I act against the Agnian's orders? Do I have the gall to defy the mighty nobleman? I would ideally like to do that, but my ingenuity is not high enough. I'm not going to hide. I must act. This will probably be your death, but I must act. I pull myself together and walk slowly to the half-collapsed doorway. Sophia stays behind. The tall young Agnian stares me down, his condescending smile dripping with scorn. In my most assertive voice, I answer this question. You'll find no fugitive girl in this house. What are you doing here, boy? I wasn't speaking to you. Out of my way, he snarls. Otton needs no permission to enter, so he steps inside. I stand in his way. I have already assured the young Agnian there is no one else inside. I've done him a great service. What makes him doubt my words? Why, you lowlife? How dare you stand in an Agnian's way? You must have lives to spare. Otton backhands me with immense strength, enough to send me flying. The Agnian draws his sword. It rides in the air. Then one of his men shouts, "Sir, there she is!" The Agnian turns around briskly and walks away. Sophia used my distraction to climb out of the window in the back. I jump to my feet and escape the house in the same way. Sophia's slight silhouette is gaining distance far ahead. One of Otten's men is chasing her down, ready to catch her at any moment. But then something unbelievable happens. Sophia lets out a dreadful scream and the air around her sizzles with golden sparks. Otten's men fall to the ground, clutching his head. Sophia freezes for a second, as though uncertain of what she just did. What was that? Otten screams at her right next to me. Well, that's how it is, eh? The wench is a witch. Sees her, he cries. Magic? Sophia is a witch? Sophia's silhouette disappears down an alleyway. Otten's men give her chase, but they will never find her in the dark, sprawling district. I watch her go. Will I ever see her again? The runaway girl becomes the talk of our district for an entire week. I overhear that Sophia managed to flee the city. The Ottens are furious. After this sudden appearance, she disappeared from my life once more. I will not see her again until much, much later. So, we've gained a relation with her, up to +2. Her status is trusting. And we move on to 1133, 15 years of age. Year 1133, summer, the blood-stained sermon. I'm about to turn 15. Just one step away from adulthood. Mother is acting anxious at dinner today, barely touching her food. Exchange glances with Gloria. She carefully tells me that she wants to go to the tailor. Mother shudders, and her hands clench into fists. No, don't you dare leave home today, she says. I forbid it. The dirty heretic, Fotis, is preaching his lies under the silver tree today. Twins willing, I don't want you to hear any of that. Gloria and I glance at each other again. Fotis, he's a patriarch, the head of the clergy throughout the entire province. That is the first time I've heard Mother speak like this about a priest, especially a high-ranking one. Once I leave the dinner table, Gloria comes to my room with a cunning expression on her face, like she's about to play a trick on someone. She has a plan. The two of us should sneak out of the house and go to the silver tree. I simply must hear the sermon for myself. Absolutely, I must. There is much to resolve in the ways of the twins and the lies of the world. What's so bad about Patriarch Fortis? Why does Mother hate him so much? As to grown-ups now, surely we have the right to know. I agree with my sister. Together we sneak out from under Mother's watchful eye and hurry to the silver tree. The temple block is full of people from all ranks and estate. There is barely enough room for us to squeeze through the crowd. The crowd has gathered around the very roots of the tree. Gloria suggested I climb up on the roof of a nearby building so I can hear and see everything better. And not a moment too soon. From the roof I see a tall, silver-haired priest step onto the platform by the tree, dressed in the common black robe that looks far beneath his rank. Yet he stands like a noble before the crowd. Behind his back is a banner, flapping in the wind. The open book. This is the symbol of the new faith, the crowd whispers. The Patriarch holds his hands up to the sky and the entire temple block grows quiet. He begins his sermon, his vibrant voice rolling across the square. Otis speaks of a great mistake. We entrusted ourselves to the lots as the only way to fulfill divine providence in this world. But for all these years, the will of the twins has been interpreted for us by a single man, Prophet Isatius. The twins are ever watching from atop the shining pillar. Of this we have no doubt. But how can we so blindly believe that we follow their will by following the lots? Have we not seen the 3 lots of Isatius fail again and again to answer the question of how we ought to live our lives? Have we not seen people change their lot in life again and again without being smitten by divine wrath? Every person born, whether human or Agnian, low-born or noble, must find their lot and their way to the gods on their own. From now on, we will seek the gods in the accounts of their lives, in their accounts of this world, and in their own words as they echo within us. And as we heed the voice of the twins within, we will each find their path for us on our own. Yes, he speaks truth. The crowd at the silver tree listens to the Patriarch's speech in stunned silence. I glance at my sister. Her eyes glisten with tears as she hears Fotis's words. Then suddenly a hoarse cry rises from the crowd. If there are no lots, does that mean the nobles are going to fill the field and the commoners are going to bear arms? The crowd begins to murmur. The patriarch raises his arm and inhales, ready to answer. An odd figure leaps up from the crowd on the taller platform, a dirty beggar dressed in rags. A knife flashes in his hand. The blade slices, blood spurts from Fotis's throat. He slumps over and collapses. A dark brown puddle spreads across the platform from where he stood. Gloria clutches her mouth to suppress a shriek. A few moments of stunned silence and then the screams begin. The people are frantic. The temple guards try to restore order in the crowd, but to no avail. An old woman dressed in an inquisitor's cassock tries in vain to apply pressure to the patriarch's wounds. The nobles draw their swords. Dogs are barking. The crowd is pushing and shoving. Children are crying. The entire square by the tree is in chaos. From the roof, I see a moment when people start trampling each other, howling, praying, shouting. Gloria tugs on my sleeve. Time to go. We climb down from the roof and run. There is a brave man willing to sacrifice his life for the truth. We return home without exchanging a word. Mother has been in her room all the while, so no one notices our absence. Gloria locks herself in her room. I do not discuss the things I have just seen, they are too frightening. But my parents discuss every little detail of the blood-stained sermon over dinner. This is unbelievable. A patriarch murdered in plain sight. The gendarme and the Archduke's guards have searched every corner of the slums, and the murderous beggar has disappeared without a trace. Can't even imagine a more gruesome fate. A more gruesome crime. Fotis has died a true death, never to return from the hereafter. Then he's a truly brave man. But how? Why can't the patriarch be reborn? He's so close to the twins, asks my brother Nathan. Such is the way of the world, my child. Once you are granted great power by the twins' will, there's no hope for you to come back, not even after the first of your deaths. Emperors, their powerful vassals, heads of great Acmean dynasties, patriarchs of the church. None of them are destined to be reborn. Fotis is gone forever, his mother. I fear for his soul. It was lost in doubt. Will the twins accept him upon the peak of the pillar? We must pray for the patriarch children. Let us hope he managed to return to the true old faith before the moment of his passing. But little hope for that. +1 from the church, moving closer to a change in faith. Order is down to 6. Tomorrow I turn 16. According to imperial law, I will be a full adult. My time at Santebos school has ended. I have studied enough to apply to the Imperial College and learn the judge's trade there. I am to travel to Eterna tomorrow. My friend Thomas will go there with me and try his luck in the Imperial capital. Mother and father prepare me for the long journey. Remember, son, says father, there is only one goal for you. You must become a student at the Imperial College. Your teachers dragged you through all those books for a reason. You have the knowledge and fervour to be ennobled by the mantle as I was, and as my late father was before me, and who knows, maybe one day you will be the one to write the name Brante in a blue book, and ensure that your children's children will be noble by birth. Then mother speaks to me carefully, there is worry in her eye. But Robert, she says, there may be another path for our son. Stefan, your firstborn, was born a noble. He will surely earn the title for the entire Brante family. Your second son bears the favour of the twins. For him, the path of the priest is a worthy calling, no less than the nobleman's sword. They have been arguing about my future for a while now. Still, she would never defy the will of a nobleman and a husband. I smile at them both, trying to placate them. Gloria laughs quietly behind their backs. Just don't become a snook like Stefan, she says, and you'll do just fine. Mother chides Gloria for that. I wink at my sister. Nathan has been downcast all evening. He barely touches her. When everyone gets up from the table, he suddenly rushes over to embrace me. Please don't go, Yorkie, he says. Can't you stay? I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I tussle his head in response. There is no way I can stay now, I say. But when I come home, and I will come home, I'll tell him all my stories and bring him a special present from Eterna. This is it. All my lessons have been learned. All my things have been packed for the road. I will leave the family home tomorrow. Tonight is my last night at home before my departure. I walk through the rooms one last time. The sitting room where Mother used to read my fairy tales. The library where Gloria used to spend all the time. Father's study, which I entered only on special occasions. The backyard, where I taught Nathan to build towers one summer. The whole place feels so familiar. So dear to me. It feels like home. I lived here 16 years. Will I ever return? It's getting late. Everyone is already in their rooms, but I hesitate. Father, Mother, Gloria, Nathan. It will be a long time before I see them again. Who will I spend my last few hours with at home? Don't have a good enough relationship with Father. I don't have a good enough relationship with Gloria. I could spend it with Nathan. I could spend it with Mother. I wish to assure Mother. He's been through so much and is the matriarch of our family. I open the door to Mother's room. She is kneeling in prayer. Her back is to the door and her whispers fill the room. He turns around and smiles gently when she hears my footsteps. I want to spend tonight with her before I leave. Mother reached out towards me. Come with me, Yorkie. There is no need for anyone else to hear us, she says. We walk silently downstairs, enter the empty sitting room and light the candles. You are so close to the gods, my son, she says. I knew it as soon as you were born. I saw them watching over you closely. Let us pray together, my son. May the twins know you honour their very touch. I stand by Mother's side as she whispers prayer after prayer. First she offers gratitude for the life and lot you have been granted. Then a plea to show me my path through the world. But it has no mercy. Next a promise to heed and obey their every call. There is such fervour in her prayer, such piety. I know for certain as I pray with her that the gods will provide for me. They will ensure that my path is true, for there is no other way. The sun is about to rise. I should rest before the long trip. But I am not tired at all. On the contrary, I feel lucid and clear-headed. Mother embraces me once the prayers are done. My son, life is hard, but it is just. More so for those who follow their lots. Remember, be humble in your words and work hard. But before you go, Mother removes a pendant from the twins' cross and puts it around my neck. I return to my room and get into bed. I can see the shining pillar from the window, glowing gently against the twilight morning sky. All my worries about the long journey are no more. I can feel calm and serene. Relations with Mother have gone up to 5. My spirituality up to 8, blessed by the gods. Departure from home, year 1133. I leave the family home for a long time. My future awaits in Eterna, the capital of the Empire. The end of adolescence. Last night was my final night at home. The carriage is now waiting at the gate, ready to take me to the capital. The clip-clopping of the idle hooves against the cobblestones count for the seconds before my departure. I take one more look at my parents' house and recall my childhood spent there, in the nearby yards, at my school, and on the winding streets of Anisot. I clashed with the greater world around me and survived. I felt a tingle of emotion for the first time. I was taught by the school and the streets, explored the city of my birth, and learned something of its past. I witnessed first-hand events that will be remembered by history for all time. All of this is mine now, forever. I saw death, lesser death followed by rebirth, and true death that takes and never gives back. I saw death lying in wait to strike unaware, like the beast stalking its prey. I saw grandfather's angry grimace, lit by the flickering fire of the lamp. The Archduke's cavalry trampling those who stood in their way, and my older brother bloodied, sword, slicing through the air. Death has followed me from a very young age. And yet I live on. I have a friend who's been by my side all these years. Thomas taught me many things. How to take a hit, how to keep my word, and how to remain true to myself. And now Thomas is walking to the same carriage as I am. With a heavy bag slung over his shoulder, my friend will remain my companion for the time being. Ahead of us is a long trip towards the capital and adulthood. For the first time, I will be away from my family and home. What awaits us in the future. End of Chapter 2, Adolescence. I survived my first clashes with the greater world around me. I felt the tingle of emotion for the first time. I was taught by the school and the streets. I explored the city of my birth and learned from its tales. I witnessed firsthand the events that will be remembered by history for a long time. Time now for me to leave my family home. Important life events that happened is listed, which we've all experienced. Personal qualities that I have accumulated in adolescence. All my qualities from childhood and adolescence will now convert into adult qualities. Ability up to 5, ingenuity 3, spirituality 8. My inner strength and the number of lesser deaths that I have experienced. These qualities will stay with me for the rest of my life. Continue. And so we go into youth.
Leaving my hometown behind, I set out for the capital of the empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
Chapter 3, Youth. Leaving home, the driver flicks the reins. The carriage slowly sways as it starts moving away from my home. I stick my head out the window and wave goodbye to my family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Thomas' younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes. It hurts to leave my home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the Imperial College. I have often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anisot, enormously in terms of size, age, wealth, and beauty. But what is it really like? What kind of life awaits me there? What will I learn there, and where will my actions take me? I pass the old walls of Anisot. Somewhere within them is the old fortress me and Thomas built together, out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of our younger brothers. Us two are adults now. Perhaps our fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps our brothers will continue what we started, who knows? I look down at my hands, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave me a cross to wear away from home, and now I can feel its warmth against my chest. My family counts on me, even though they all wish a different future for me. But they are behind me now, in Anisot. From this point on, only I will decide which road I will take. This is the journey I prepared for throughout the entire childhood. Ahead of me lie many years in the capital, years that will determine my fate and my place in society. These are my personal qualities in adulthood, which I will use for the rest of my life. They are the sum of qualities that I have gained in childhood and adolescence. For most skill checks, you will need a value between 10 and 16. Values 17 to 19 are required for rare and especially difficult choices. The maximum value 20 only gives you a chance for one extraordinary deed. So, perception and ability go to diplomacy, unknown, but close to being promising. Perception and ingenuity go to 7, manipulation, naive, rather low. Perception and spirituality, theology, follower, at 12, close to initiate. Determination and ability at 10. Valor. Mediocre fighter. Determination and ingenuity. Scheming is at 8. Inexperienced. Determination and spirituality. Eloquence. We are very eloquent. We are silver-tongued. And so that is those are our statistics for the rest of our life. Chapter 3, Youth. I left my hometown to study in the Imperial capital. Life awaits me in Eterna. What will I study, and where will I go? When push comes to shove, which road will I take? My youth awaits, and the years to come will determine the nature of my identity and my place in society. Life paths that I will choose from in this chapter. The path of lotlessness. Oh, the path of the lotless. Remain in the common estate, with no choice but to fend for myself and make my own way in the world. The path of the priest. And that would just be with not meeting any of the others then. The path of the priest. I have the theology and the eloquence. Both. I just need to enroll in the seminary. You enroll in seminary hoping to become a priest and assume the lot of the clergy. Path of the nobleman. I have the valor. Like my father and grandfather, I enroll in Imperial College, hoping to become a judge and a nobleman of the mantle. Or true death. My earthly life is over. I leave the world forever and face the judgments of the twins. Either accept true death or have 4 deaths. Events in the personal life of the hero that can happen in this chapter. Aelis's rescue. Save the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice from an untimely death. Collapse of the Lotless. I failed to protect the Lotless. The Empire utterly destroyed the secret society. Lotless at large. I rescue the Lotless and the secret society continues its activities in the capital. Bond of friendship. So I don't know, Thomas. He's already got the relationship with me. Thomas and I form an unbreakable bond of friendship. And Shield of the New Faith. I side with the New Faith and support the transformation of the Church. Willpower is got to be greater than or equal to 0. Side with the New Faith and the path of the priest. My personal qualities in this chapter, they will be used for the rest of my life. And we've seen this. Continue. And we shall pick this up next time. The arrival in the capital. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. Very well. Have a blessed day. May you enjoy your coffee.